thank you kindly for joining us. It's good to connect with you guys on an afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. We are live on all social media platforms, and we encourage you, the viewer and listener, thank you, Judah, to participate with the show and shape the discussion by leaving your thoughts and comments in the comment section of all the social platforms you're watching upon. We have a lot of important topics on today's show that I think will resonate with you, including an article, a front page story in the Daily Progress, the newspaper of record for Central Virginia, a 300,000 person market. The Daily Progress and Alice Berry, a story published 4 hours ago online, talk about the misconduct and the violence, the assault and the drug use within the hallways and corridors of Albemarle High School, which is the largest high school in Central Virginia. We here on the I Love CVille Show have been talking about these items of concern for roughly a year, including being the first and only platform discussing the alleged sexual assault in the locker room with the JV football team. Today, the Progress, the newspaper of record, is now reporting on a lot of the stuff we've been talking about. But when legacy media and traditional media jumps into the fray and publishes it in a print product, in a digital product, that's something that is papering the trail and documenting the trail and further reinforcing the major problems we already knew existed, further confirming them. I'm going to talk about this, and it's interesting how they came up. They came up last night. The foundation or the essence of this Daily Progress story was a meeting last night with Judy Lee. She's an Albemarle County School Board member. And there's tremendous speculation, there's tremendous conversation in back rooms and chitter-chatter among political insiders that Judy Lee is giving some thought to some kind of additional run of some capacity. And she has a meeting last night with constituents to get a feel for what's going on in the public school system we call Albemarle, but also as a way to get face time with constituents and potential voters. So in yesterday's meeting, you got Alice Berry reporting from it because Judy Lee utilized Albemarle County Public School email and listserv to get the word out about the meeting. You know, I saw it. Friends of mine saw the email. I was, a little head scratchy when I saw the email because I was wondering if it was any kind of conflict of interest utilizing Albemarle County Public School digital infrastructure like email lists and listservs to reach out to constituents as kind of like a fundraiser or meet and greet. Not a fundraiser, that's the wrong word, but a meet and greet or a conversation, a time to schedule conversation with potential constituents. But I thought more about it and I said, no, that's not really a conflict of interest. That's just a school board member trying to make face-to-face time and conversation with folks in her district. So I had less beef with utilizing ACPS digital infrastructure to reach out to potential voters because she is a school board member and she should be doing this anyway. In the process of having this meeting last night, parents rose to the forefront, and when school board member Lee asked the folks in attendance, what's on your mind? What are your thoughts? Parents stood up and said, we don't feel safe with our kids in the school. And they highlighted what was going on in the bathrooms, which Judah Wickower, our director, will weave you in here in a matter of moments here. We've been talking about sexual misconduct in the bathroom. We've been talking about drug use and vaping in the bathrooms. And we've been talking about, aggressive violence, potential fighting in the bathrooms, because it's a part of the school that's not cameraed. It's not videoed. It's kind of on the DL. Okay? The parents also highlighted what we talked about all throughout, most of last year or much of last year, the alleged assault in the locker room with the JV football team and wanting transparency and what's going on here. And they also discussed school resource officers with the school board member. So topics that we know matter to you and to me and to the community came out and were visibly and tangibly and palpably in the forefront in a meeting last night with a school board member. The article should be of no surprise to you. And I'm going to weave Judah in here now, if we could, and let me know when the two shot's up. What did you say in our pre-production meeting? First, good afternoon. Looking forward to doing today's talk show with you. What did you say in our pre-production meeting? It's like, I said, we've been talking about what the Daily Progress reported today. We've been talking about it for much of a year. And then you said...
I think I said it. That kind of thing has probably been going on for a lot longer than we've been talking about it.
Exactly. That's the concerning thing. Is we've been talking about this for close to a year, and Judah's like, this has been going on for longer than that too, and it's now in the legacy media, Judah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just meant that similar to what we were talking about yesterday, these kinds of things are not new to anywhere. Kids aren't coming up with new ideas. They may be using new technology in new ways, but saying that all of a sudden kids are misbehaving at school or in locker rooms is obviously nothing grand, and nobody's really surprised. I think.
See, I take a different approach.
I think we're just surprised that nothing is being done about it.
Okay, that's fair. There you go. That's fair.
I mean, I remember when I was in high school, some kids had crawled up in the ducts above I think it was the girls' locker room or something, and there may have been a video camera involved, and some kids got in trouble. That's not to say that any of what's going on now is right or that it shouldn't be addressed, but it's just this kind of stuff has been happening as long as there have been teenagers. Right?
Devil's advocate, sake of a talk show. $18,000 plus a year it costs to educate a student in Albemarle County public schools. $18,000 plus a year. That's a lot of money. $18,000 plus per year a student at Albemarle High School. Top 10% in the Commonwealth of Virginia on per pupil spending. Albemarle High School. Top 10%.
Okay.
I'll give you this kind of fightings happen in high schools forever. Give you that. I'll give you that vaping in the hallways is essentially smoking cigarettes in the hallways from...
Or the bathroom.
Or the bathroom from 20 years ago. I'm not marginalizing it. I'm not
even
saying
a song
kids.
about it.
I'm not. Yeah. How does the song go?
Smoking in the boys' room.
Smoking in the boys' room. Smoking in the boys' room is vaping in the boys' room.
Or the hall or wherever.
We're not marginalizing it. We're not saying it's okay.
Yeah, I'm not marginalizing any of this.
I'm not marginalizing any of it either. We got to emphasize that because people are going to say we are. We are not doing that. But vaping has been going on forever. Fighting in high school has been going on forever. Vaping's been going on forever. What is cause for concern is this. This is what's cause for concern. Any kind of sexual misconduct is huge red flag.
Definitely.
Fighting and vaping are in a completely different category than sexual misconduct.
I would agree.
Any sexual misconduct raises red flags, and we're hearing of sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
And there's varying degrees of that misconduct. That sexual misconduct has varying degrees to it. What's concerning is this misconduct of sexual nature is happening at the same time that test scores are down. We have educational system in Albemarle where you're not allowed to really fail kids.
They've let go of the officers. What do they call them?
School resource officers aren't in the hallways anymore, the SROs. And in the Daily Progress article, the parents are screaming for SROs to come back.
Yeah.
So this is, it's a microcosm for a larger problem. And the microcosm for the larger problem is the school board and the superintendent's office not listening to you and I, the constituents and the parents. That's the bigger issue here. And I can put it in perspective for you. I'm putting it in perspective by the parents in last night's meeting with Judy Lee saying, get the school resource officers back in the hallway. And we've been saying that for a while, and they're still not there.
Yeah.
The parents have said in a meeting last night with Judy Lee, what the heck happened with the alleged sexual assault with the JV football team in the locker room? We want some details. And I understand why they do.
Yeah.
And the parents in a meeting last night with Judy Lee, the
I
school
can't
board
believe
member,
that hasn't
are
been
saying,
resolved.
right. The parents in the meeting last night with Judy Lee are saying, what's going on in the bathrooms? It's scaring the hell out of us. It's like the Wild West in there. Because there's no cameras, people are doing all kinds of stuff, and the average student is afraid to go in there, okay? And this...
That doesn't mean we think that there should be cameras in kids' bathrooms.
I don't think there should be cameras in kids' bathrooms, but perhaps the bathroom should have... And it's been a common theme in the I Love CVille show over the last couple of weeks: better shoe leather and foot patrol, and some kind of like walking the beat strategy.
Yeah.
Where an adult is walking through the bathrooms periodically or more frequently to see what the heck is actually happening there. And parents have been saying this for a long period of time. So the bigger issue and what this is, the bigger problem here is superintendent's office and school board current not listening to us as parents and as voters and as taxpayers. And we've been saying for a long period of time, we want the police officers back in the school. Why the heck are the buses still late to and from school? What's going on with the violence and the fighting and the sexual misconduct, all alleged, that's going on in the school? Why is this continuing to take place? And why is this all happening when Albemarle High School is a top 10% in the Commonwealth with per pupil spending? Why are the teachers quitting? Why can't we still fill the bus drivers, despite giving them an escalation in pay, starting pay? What are the plans to solve? And now with the Daily Progress reporting it gets a little bit more attention because it's a newspaper. I am curious, and I've said this many times on the show, how many people have the paid subscription to the Daily Progress?
If it really is $45 a month, I would gather there are zero.
No, I don't think that's not true.
I'm being facetious.
I understand you're being
seriously,
facetious. But
$45 a month is
a good chunk of money.
Who's paying that for anything?
That's why I've been consistent on this show. I think a lot of people are relying on us because we pay for it, I pay for it, to be able to read and access this content, to essentially relay what we're reading to them or hearing to them. And it's become, as Bill McChesney, the mayor of McIntyre, put on Facebook yesterday, the pulse or the water cooler of Central Virginia. Here's what we're leading with. The newspaper put out a story published online 4 hours ago about alleged sexual misconduct, fighting, violence, and drug use in Albemarle High School, with parents being straight up scared. And Jude and I are saying very humbly, we've been talking about this for months, if not close to a year, on this talk show. And the issue you have is administration and leadership not listening to parents and voters. Another example of administration and leadership not listening to parents and voters is the school surveys on the rebranding. And I had a conversation with folks that live in the Blenheim area of Albemarle County. In the Blenheim area of Albemarle County. Had a conversation with folks at the Monticello Ruritan Club last night. Dinner and conversation. And one of the aspects that came up in that conversation was the survey results, where an overwhelming amount of parents with these surveys are saying, leave everything alone.
Yeah.
Don't change the name. And when it's clear to the parents that the name is going to be changed and that the leadership is not going to listen to them, the next thing is, what name do you want us to pick? And leadership provides 4 names, and the parents will pick a name of the 4, and they choose to ignore the one they picked. So not only do they not want the name change, but then they don't get listened to with the 4 offerings, and they pick the best of their favorite offerings, and they go a different way as well. It's a microcosm of leadership and administration not listening to parents and voters.
How much? I'm just curious. How much transparency is there in those votes? I'm just curious how.
Which votes?
In the votes for whether or not to change a school's name, and then what should we change it to? Like, I'm just saying, if one parent says, "Well, I voted for not to change it," how do they know that the overall majority of the votes didn't come in to change it? And I'm not saying that any of that is false. I'm just curious as to the transparency of it and how you would actually know if the votes were being ignored.
The survey results are published on the Albemarle County Public School website.
Okay.
So anyone, including you,
are saying, here's the survey, and we're going to just do what we want.
Anyone can find the surveys that I'm referencing right now on the Albemarle County Public School website. I've corresponded with folks like Vanessa Parkhill and other folks about the survey results. I mean, you legitimately can Google the survey results for the rebranding with the schools.
Yeah.
And see that the parents, in some cases, 90% plus, are saying don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So please, I encourage anyone watching this program to do that and look at the results. It's public. It's public. It's very public. So I don't know. I guess I want to give props to the Daily Progress and Alice Berry for writing this story.
Yeah.
When it gets more attention, eventually the additional attention will lead to action.
Yeah, and I'd like to see her dig deeper as well.
Dig deeper if you can, Alice Berry. Completely agree. She asked Judy Lee, Alice Berry, the reporter, asked Judy Lee, the school board member, to comment on these topics, and Judy Lee, the school board member, declined to comment on everything. And literally, there's a line in the story, Lee declined to comment to the Daily Progress on this. It's an interesting phenomenon that's happening this year, is there's 4 spots of 7 on a school board and 3 spots of 6 on the Board of Supervisors that are all coming up for re-election in November. It's a phenomenon that, because these positions are 4-year positions, so the next time 4 on the school board and 3 on the Board of Supervisors comes up again is 4 years from now. It's a crossroads of potential change. There's potential change because of that voting dynamic. Anything you want to add to that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a parent, so it's hard for me to comment on a lot of this. I know if I was a parent, I would certainly be, what's the word?
Enraged, infuriated, concerned.
I would certainly be concerned that that the school board was not listening to parents' concerns and desires.
Yeah. Agreed. And I also think that we should have a little bit more accountability with the Board of Supervisors and the school board. Like, the Board of Supervisors is allocating the money to the school board. This is the largest allocation the Board of Supervisors does each year from a budget standpoint, is allocating money to public schools.
Mm-hmm.
And when that money is allocated, prior to the allocation, questions that need answers should be, how have you solved the bus driver crisis before we give you this money?
Right.
What are you doing about
if we give you this money, is it going to go towards solving problems, or is it going to go towards getting new signs for a name that we don't want.
I mean, right? I mean, it's like the board should be asking, the board of supervisors should be asking the school board before giving this 60% of the budget to schools, how are you solving these 4 or 5 problems? And the 4 or 5 problems are the bus driver shortage, the teachers quitting, violence and alleged sexual misconduct, rampant, and school performance scores going down. What are you doing to solve it? Because what's the saying, good money after bad?
Don't throw good money after bad.
Right? I mean, why aren't those conversations happening in more frank or persistent, or I don't want to use the word aggressive, but I mean like inquisitive or challenging or in a hold them accountable kind of manner?
I mean, it may be the understanding that, hey, you voted for these people.
What does that mean?
That means, I mean, it's the same as our city council and any other council or group that you vote into power. And then you're going to say, well, hold on a minute. Maybe we shouldn't give you quite as much power. We want to oversee what you're doing. Well, who is in charge of who watches the watchman? Basically, what I'm saying is that if you vote for and I really don't want to get political here, but if you vote for a bunch of people of a certain political persuasion and they do all the things you would normally expect those people to do, and then you put your arms up in the air in outrage and say, why did you do that? Maybe the question has less to do with the actual people that were voted in and more to do with why you're voting in people that continually do those kinds of things.
I think that's 100%. Well said. 100%. 100%. And one of the items that came up in my conversation last night was apathy.
Was what?
Apathy. That apathy has apathy potentially set in.
How so? With the board members?
With folks thinking that their vote matters anymore.
Oh.
In an area that's dominated by one party. Like, and I try to explain that that's the most dangerous of all feelings.
You're saying thinking that their vote doesn't matter.
Right. And the most dangerous of all feelings is voter apathy. I mean, anger and infuriation and rage or inquisitiveness or uncertainty, those feelings, they breed action, human action. But apathy breeds nothing and laziness and no action.
Inaction, yeah.
That's the most dangerous of all voter, sentimentalities or mentalities is apathy.
It's definitely easy to fall into that pitfall when you're in an area that's heavily weighted to in one direction or another.
Especially when you're in an off year, when there's no presidential election, and no governor's election. Especially in an off year. So,
What does that have to do with, like, school board elections?
More people go and vote when there's a president on the ballot.
Yeah.
And then more people go and vote at the second most clip when there's a governor's race on the ballot.
I got you. Yeah.
President gets people out.
Definitely.
November's an off. There's neither.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think, viewers and listeners? I want to talk restaurants, too. Put your thoughts in the feed. We'll relay them live on air. I want to talk more reaction to the murder in Belmont and what's next. I think we all realize we're going to be watching closely as the police chief is on the job officially on Monday. I think we're going to be watching pretty closely, as the community responds to their uncertainty to safety. I was very happy to see as I got reports of people driving through Belmont, that again today the area was crowded for breakfast. which is an indication of people supporting Bell and Belmont. And the Shaughnessy brothers are great. I think people will respond by patronizing downtown Belmont with momentum. And I would not be surprised that if it's a really strong week or 2-week run in downtown Belmont, as people like make an effort to go out of their way to go there for dinner and for happy hour and for drinks to show their support.
Yeah, and I think most people understand the fact that this is not a Belmont issue. This was, certainly a Charlottesville issue, but it was random in terms of area and positioning.
I like how you said that. I would even say it's a Central Virginia issue.
Yeah,
I mean, it's certainly a Charlottesville and Albemarle County issue.
Yeah,
I would say maybe Central Virginia.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean that it was. Again, I didn't mean that it was distinct to Charlottesville. Just that, as opposed to being something that happens in Belmont. It's something that's been happening around CVille and is an overall problem, not a neighborhood.
Do you have any more questions that have come up since yesterday's show that you've thought of?
Any more questions about what happened in?
Yeah, like just questions in general. Look, I really sincerely want to know what the tie was for these folks that are not in Central Virginia or appear, or certainly are not Central Virginia residents, why they all met in front of Fitzgerald Tire.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what brings any of this gang activity to Charlottesville. I know we've said that the nearness to 64, but that seems a little too pat. I mean, there are a lot of places along 64, and certainly a lot of them would have less visibility.
Felonious activity?
No, less visibility. I mean, if you wanted to pick a place to, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Have your drops. Have your
drops. Your drops.
I mean, I don't know. A place to. What are they? You think they're renting warehouse space here so they can keep all their? I mean, that's.
It certainly didn't appear so.
It's a bit baffling how they would end up in Charlottesville, and like you said, how does a
Fitzgerald Tire location to the 64 argument is right off of Interstate 64.
But that's not an explanation.
I know that's not an explanation. I want to know basically what we're saying is, why are they here?
Yeah.
What is the tie to Charlottesville?
Yeah. Why do they stop here?
Why do they stop here?
And then of course you've got kids who are seemingly getting into it, and I have a general idea of what the draw is in most cases, like why kids get into gangs in Los Angeles or anywhere else, but Charlottesville.
Well, maybe it's time we start taking it more seriously.
I'm not saying we don't. I just it's a lot of curiosities.
Yeah, agreed. A lot of curiosities and no clear-cut remedies of how to solve and how to manage.
Well, that article made some really good points that it's going to take.
You're talking about the op-ed.
Yeah, it's going to take all of us. It's not just it's
not just a policing thing.
It's not just Cautious is going to have to take down all the gang rings in Charlottesville when he starts on Monday.
He's certainly going to be the front line guy, though.
Oh, yeah.
Leading the charge.
He'll certainly have his job cut out for him. And, yeah, he will certainly be at the forefront of whatever does happen. But if we're just relying on the police, then I think we're going to have a hard time, because it's a more insidious problem than just weeding out a group of people and, throwing them
getting some arrests made. Yeah.
It's, the op-ed talks about some of the steps that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to, it's going to take schools, it's going to take ministers, it's going to take, reaching out to the kids who are potentially joining the gangs, and, I think I read that they already have people who are formerly gang members who are out in that community trying to identify
make connection
people and problem areas.
Yeah, well, there's a interesting dynamic where we're hearing of the problems at Albemarle High School, the largest high school in Albemarle County, the largest high school in Central Virginia, and we're hearing of the problems associated with violence and drugs and sexual misconduct, and we're seeing those actions then become prevalent and real in on the mall and in Belmont and in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. So I think there's certainly a correlation to be made with what's transpiring with the high school and what could be potentially happening in Central Virginia and Albemarle County in the area. Because look, it starts at home and it starts in school, and that clearly is a situation that's not working well. I want to be optimistic with the new police chief that's here. I want to be optimistic because I'm an optimistic guy, but I think he may have underestimated what he has in front of him from a challenge standpoint. When he took this job, since he's taken this job.
What are you basing that on?
Since he's taken this job, you got the shootout in Belmont, you got the corner incident, the one outside the watering hole.
Yeah.
In Belmont, 14th Street. You have the city attorney and a city councilor resigning and quitting, and you have the community at a most concerned level that I've seen in a long time. If there was some kind of index that tracked community confidence or community concern, I would say the needle is way at community concern right now, more so than when Kochis took the job.
Okay, we do have all that stuff, but we still need somebody in the position, and it sounds more like you're saying that he may have bit off more than he can chew.
No, I didn't say that. I think that he underestimated the challenge ahead for him.
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm still not sure what you're getting that information from.
Well, what I just explained. You just had a shootout in a neighborhood in Belmont. That happened after Kochis took the job.
Yeah.
The shooting in front of Boylan Heights, in front of the bar on 10th Street, 14th Street, happened after Kochis took the job. People are more worried now than they were when Kochis took the job, and they were already worried then. That's my point. And he's still got a serious issue with filling. I mean, think about the problem he's going to have here of filling the department, okay? Here's the issue. Here's what we know with Charlottesville City, right? Real estate's really the most expensive it's ever been right now. Charlottesville City, right? It's also a political climate or a human mindset climate where a lot of people in Charlottesville City don't like the police right now. Right? The jurisdictions around Charlottesville City can pay more money than the Charlottesville Police Department can pay. And then they have a quality of life or a cost of living is a better phrase, that's lower than Charlottesville City. Freaking challenging to fill the department. Not only is he going to have to deal with the policing and would you call it a spate of crime? Is that what you called it? The recent spate of crime, of violence that's happened, but he's also had to deal with those headwinds with hiring. And I can assure you the two things that we're going to be judging Kochis on, what's the first thing? Is crime going down and do we feel safe? And the second thing is, did he fill the department? Aren't those the metrics you're going to judge him on?
I would think so, yeah.
I mean, and those are, I mean, there's a reason he's paid, what, 200K plus when you factor in everything? All the perks and all the bells and whistles and all the medical and compensation and all that? It's tough. I mean, we'll see. We will see. Restaurant, you and I were brainstorming an idea for the show with best available restaurant space in Charlottesville and Albemarle. You think about it? This one's tough.
That's a tough one because there are a lot of open storefronts. I went to Hangry Hut the other day.
Oh, you did? I'm seeing their signs all over town.
Yeah, they have.
Is it good?
Way
Tell
too
us
many
where it
signs.
is.
Well, that's the part that baffles me, and I'm guessing that who knows, they could have started. So you may or may not know that the subway at the bottom of Pantops is now closed.
The subway at the bottom of Pantops is now closed. Is that the subway in the Food Lion Shopping Center?
Yeah.
The Lazy Parrot Shopping Center.
Yeah.
ABC stores in there too.
That subway is closed, and it's been getting the interior has been getting remodeled.
I didn't know that. Judah Wickhauer breaking a little bit of news here.
I mean, it's hardly news. They've been closed for quite a while.
This is news, dude.
And anyways, I feel like the last time I drove by there, I saw a Christmas tree in there, which is strange because this is after New Year's.
Okay.
But the odd thing to me is that Hangry Hut is in that same parking lot, but it's way back in the corner.
Hangry Hut.
Like where?
Which is it a chicken restaurant that's new? How do you characterize the cuisine?
It's tough to characterize, but they've got chicken. They've got basically Greek, like gyros and bowls, and then they've got some kind of Middle Eastern style. I think like butter chicken and
That sounds delicious.
and curry chicken. I got the
New restaurant alert.
Yeah, I got the gyro.
I love gyros.
Yeah,
Was it good?
it was good. It was
Fresh?
Yeah, the lettuce was fresh and crunchy.
Okay.
I felt it was a little lacking. I'm still,
Lacking how?
Well, I'm still looking for a gyro like the ones that I found at actual Greek places in Savannah and Hilton Head.
What are you saying?
when I was
Spilling
there.
over with meat?
Oh no, all the ones that I've had around here have meat, but in the places that I used to go to that have tomatoes, they'd have Greek olives, they'd have cucumber, they'd have feta cheese. I mean, just
My
like
wife makes it that way.
red onions, just
Excuse
like
me.
brimming. And this one the meat was really good. It was diced up, which was a little
Was
odd.
it lamb?
I don't know what it was. I mean,
Okay.
but
You ordered it though?
the meat was diced up, which was a little odd.
Okay.
I'm used to, kind of
Cubed
like the more
or stripped?
Yeah, more like cubed.
Cubed.
But it was delicious meat.
How
And-
much was a
and-
euro at Hangry Hut in the Pantop Shopping Center where Food Lion and Lazy Parrot and the ABC store is located? How much is that? How much is a euro?
I think it's $7.99.
That's cheap.
I got the
$7.99 is affordable. Fries
yeah, and with fries it's
to go or ate there?
to go. There's no
No inside seating.
inside seating.
Hangry Hut or a review
one-
from Judah Wickhauer.
One thing for anyone that hasn't been there and is thinking about it and has seen one of the 500 signs around Charlottesville now.
dude.
Way too many signs. But
Way too many signs. So they're putting the signs in the medians around Charlottesville.
Yeah, here's the thing.
That's technically a little ballsy.
Their BOGO deal.
Yeah, buy one, get one.
Get one.
Okay.
That was only for the day they opened.
So all these signs are still branding and marketing a BOGO deal, and these signs are driving people there for a first impression with the idea that they could go with a friend and buy one, get one.
There was a guy and his girlfriend sitting in the only two chairs in the lobby when I came in.
Pick up the signs, Hangry Hut.
And after I
Pick up the signs immediately.
After I'd ordered my food and we were all
You
still,
heard him talking?
still waiting. No, he looked at me and he's like, have you been here before? And I was like, no, this is my first time. And he said, us too. He's like, we came for the buy one, get one.
I know the signs are everywhere.
I know.
And the signs and the medians everywhere like that. Technically, that's a little ballsy with the rules and the laws.
Yeah, some people might say that's illegal.
We're not trying to get anybody in trouble.
But they're not the only signs that I
Oh,
saw
no.
sticking out of those spots.
The sign that you see most often is the cash for home sign with a phone number.
I'd like to try their butter chicken just because I love some good butter chicken. But
I like butter chicken.
Is
it the new donut place? Juan Sarmiento is asking, is that the new donut place? American, Mediterranean, and Indian food. No, the donut place is in the Pantop Shopping Center, Juan. Juan Sarmiento is the king of transportation. He's an A-plus guy.
This is the Pantop Shopping Center. What are you talking about?
The donut place is in the Pantop Shopping Center.
Oh, at the top?
Yeah, in the Giant Shopping Center.
Gotcha.
Is it a donut kitchen?
The Euro was
good.
good.
Yeah, it's donut kitchen.
The Euro was good at this place. I've never tried the donut place. What I was saying about it lacking was that I think it just had like lettuce, and it was...
He wants to know what's going in the old Subway. The king of transportation, Juan Sarmiento.
No idea. Like I said, I thought I saw a Christmas tree in there. It was dark, and it looked a little bit like an office space, but that was just a quick impression with like a 0.5 second glance into the place.
That shopping center has its challenges.
Yeah. I mean,
we need to highlight the fact that the which shopping center is that? Is that the Pantop Shopping Center? Is the one with the giant? What's the name of the shopping center where the Food Line and the Lazy Parrot and the ABC store? Juan, the shopping center that's at the top of Pantop's, the giant shopping center, is where the Donut Kitchen is located.
It says Pantop Shopping Center, so that's the one at the bottom.
Are you sure that's not the one?
Let's see.
Or is what's the one at the top of Pantop's? You know what? You're right. I think it has something to do with River. I'm looking at it too.
It says
the giant one.
It says Ravenna Ridge.
Shopping Center. Is that the one? What's the name of the shopping center where the giant is on Pantop's, viewers and listeners? All right, so Pantop Shopping Center is the Food Lion Shopping Center at the bottom of Pantop's. That shopping center has obvious challenges, where the one that's atop of Pantop's, that one doesn't have as much challenges of getting in and out.
That Lazy Parrot
Rivanna Shopping Center, they're putting on the feed. The Rivanna Shopping Center is the one where the giant is located.
Has that Lazy Parrot spot ever been filled? I know there was an HR Block over there, but I don't think it was in the Lazy Parrot
You're
spot.
talking about the original Lazy Parrot. Because at one time, Kevin Kirby, who's a friend of the program, Cassie Kirby, Kevin's daughter, who runs the Lazy Parrot. At one time, the Lazy Parrot had 2 Lazy Parrots in the same shopping center, roughly 10 doors down from each other.
Yeah.
I want you to think about that.
Yeah.
Now, I think he did it strategically because he knew his lease was running out at the original Lazy Parrot, the one where you could smoke. The original Lazy Parrot.
Yeah.
He goes, my lease is running out here. This location has obvious concerns. It's buried deeply in the shopping center. And he knew that the Lazy Parrot on where it currently is, the end cap of the shopping center was coming up for grabs. So he made a strategic decision of carrying 2 leases because he didn't want somebody to get the location where they're at right now.
Yeah.
And the location where they have right now is pretty dope. It's big. I mean, they have basically 2 sides of the restaurant and the outside area. That's a perfect segue into which restaurant space available right now is the best. I mean, World of Beer, Fellini's, Anna's Number 9, Peloton Station, Wild Wing, the Piedmont, those are fantastic locations. I'm hearing through the grapevine that Anna's Number 9 is got a tenant in play. I'm hearing through the grapevine that Anna's Number 9 has a tenant in play. Okay? I'm also hearing through the grapevine that Fellini's is getting closer to having some action and some activity.
I think that's probably the best spot.
You think Fellini's? Dude, have you seen Wild Wing or have you seen Peloton Station?
I've been to both of them, but neither recently.
The drawback of Wild Wing is it's massive. So it's a lot to upkeep, and it's expensive because rent is done by square feet. But Wild Wing is dope. I mean, it's multiple levels.
Yeah.
It's got parking. I mean, it's good location, and it's a sports bar. I mean, Peloton's got the outside, inside, and the garage doors and the walls that go up. It's got the fire pit. It's got, potentially you could convert the bike area into another secondary bar. I wouldn't be surprised if that's done. The bike service area is converted into a bar area. That place is pretty deluxe. I mean, why Fellini's?
I mean, just the reason I would pick Fellini's is the amount of parking, the amount of walkability.
Fellini's here?
The amount of walkability.
So the first thing that comes to mind for you is easy parking at Fellini's downtown. You know where Fellini's is located, right?
Yeah.
Kind of across from Monsoon, catty-corner to Monsoon?
Yeah, I know exactly where it is.
Okay.
We've filmed video there.
We've done many branding shoots there, 100%. I'm with you. Okay, I apologize. Keep going.
I mean, like, I suppose people could walk to both Wild Wing and Peloton from the corner, but really, where else would people be walking there from? Like, you're not going to park on, like, who parks on West Main Street and just walks down West Main Street?
My wife and I do that. People do that. People park on West Main and go to the restaurants on West Main. I think they absolutely do that. How Daniel Kaufman at Public. Daniel Kaufman's about to have 3 brands at West Main.
I'm not saying you wouldn't park and go to a restaurant there. I'm saying, would you park and just walk West Main like you would the downtown mall?
I mean, West Main certainly wants to. I mean, if you're Midtown...
I think it would be great if more people did.
The Midtown Association, that's a great idea. The Midtown Association, and Peter Castiglione, I believe, is active in the Midtown Association. He's the co-owner of Maya Restaurant. You would want to make it a destination walkable with the street. You know what? The thing that really irritates the hell out of me, and Johnny Ornelas, we'll get to your comment here. The king of Mexican food, the co-owner of El Mariachi, and one of the owners of Guadalajara, the JPA, is watching the show. He wants us to give an opinion on the Waffle House on 5th Street, that location. We'll get to that in a matter of moments. If I was Midtown, in the Midtown Business Association or the Midtown Neighborhood Association or Star Hill or Fifeville, the neighborhood's right there between the corner and the downtown mall. You have Star Hill on the left side. If you're going from the corner to downtown, you got Star Hill, you got Fifeville, and you got those businesses in Midtown, which is West Main Street. If I was them, I would be doing this association and getting after the city of Charlottesville to fix the sidewalks. I'll tell you what, we did just that. We parked downtown outside I Love CVille, and we walked all the way to the corner for lunch. It was my father, my mom, and my son and I, just the 4 of us. And my dad, who's 72, not moving super great, got caught on the sidewalk, stumbling on the broken sidewalk and the sidewalks that are elevated because of the roots of the trees multiple times. The sidewalks are in disarray. If Midtown wanted to become this dining destination where people did a bar crawl or they did like a restaurant hop.
Nice.
What's that?
They need to clean that place up. I mean, I went to Continental Divide, I think, for my birthday last year, and if you want to park down in the parking lot down below, the stairway up is like trashed. And like, first of all, my dad's got some lower back problems. Going up all those steps was not fun for him. And then you've got the issue of just like parking down there at night is sketchy.
You're saying in the lower parking lot below?
I think it's where it's on the, like, you can go under the bridge from there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't really know that area.
What'd you see in the parking lot?
I think it's part of the, like, train parking.
That's the side parking lot off of, not the primary parking lot on West Main, the side one under Guajiros.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. What'd you see back there?
We went to Guajiros for brunch one time, and it was the same thing. Going up the stairs, it's like nobody's cleaned those steps in 5 or 6 years. Easy. Probably longer.
Okay, well, and you could just park on West Main and walk up and down West Main.
My point being that it's a small symptom of a larger issue. And it's that, what is the draw? I feel like West Main just doesn't have a, like you were talking about branding earlier. What is the brand of
Midtown?
Of Midtown. Like, I get it. There are stores down there, but I don't really know what they are.
The brand of Midtown is dining. is a dining destination. When you're in Midtown, the shopping area between the UVA corner and the downtown mall, West Main Street, it's restaurants. That's the draw.
But there's a lot more than just restaurants.
If you think about it, it's not a ton more. I mean, you have Eloise, you have the One Bridal Salon, you have Shenanigans.
Yeah.
Okay? Eloise, the One Bridal Salon, Shenanigans. You have higher education.
I think there's a tattoo shop.
Yep. There's a tattoo shop. Okay? You have the ABC store. You have Daniel Kaufman's retail bottle shop that sells wine bottles, right, on West Main. But besides that, the draw of West Main is restaurants. And Star Hill, the neighborhood, and Fifeville, the neighborhood, have to realize that the success of those restaurants on West Main, in a lot of ways, will determine their property values. Just like we saw with Belmont. Belmont, in a lot of ways, was made cool and Tony and prestigious and the place to live because of Mas Tapas. Yeah. When Mas Tapas opened in downtown Belmont started getting patronized by people that were otherwise afraid of downtown Belmont. They thought Belmont, and I lived in Belmont before it was what it is today. I lived in Belmont when it was blue collar, when it was, you were kind of looking over your shoulder at night when you were walking. Okay, and Mas Tapas basically took Belmont from being blue collar to being, lack of a better phrase, white collar, yuppie, young professional, young family, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes. In a lot of ways, that Mas Tapas effect, it was the same effect that Beer Run had with, Woolen Mills, Hogwaller. Beer Run made that area what it is.
Yeah.
Josh and John made that area what it is. Fifeville and Star Hill, their values are undoubtedly associated with the longevity and the institutional success of the restaurants on West Main Street.
Yeah.
And if there's a brand of West Main, it's dining destination. And if you want to optimize the brand of dining destination in Midtown, if you're Peter Castiglione or you're Daniel Kaufman, Daniel Kaufman really should take a strong, really Peter and Daniel. Peter and Christian Kelly, the owners of Maya, they also own that real estate. So they own the real estate. Daniel Kaufman has public. Daniel Kaufman has a steakhouse. Is it Black Cow? Let me confirm. I want to confirm his name and make sure I get it right. Yeah, Black Cow Chop House, which is supposed to open next month.
Ooh, nice.
And the old Little Star spot. And Daniel Kaufman also owns the bottle shop. So if you're talking about primary stakeholders on West Main, and probably Alan Kajin owns much of West Main. Okay. The bi-coastal attorney and esquire and massive landlord that listens to this fair and fine talk show often. Kajin, Castiglione, and Kaufman should create should create a dining district for Midtown. And they should get on City Hall to fix the sidewalks and improve the lighting and get some branding and advertising out there that drives people to do bar crawls and restaurant hop up and down West Main Street.
Definitely. And probably a couple of decent parking lots.
I don't think the parking is as big a problem as you think.
Okay.
I don't think it is. I don't know. It's certainly not as bad as Belmont on Friday night. Or Belmont on Saturday night when Tavla and the Local and Mockingbird are all hopping. Good Lord. Guests of these restaurants are basically parking in people's driveways and on their front lawns and some of these side streets. So what did you pick? Which space currently available is the best? You said it's Fellini's. Johnny Ornella said, Judah, the kitchen in Fellini's is an absolute disaster. It's very confining. He said it would need to be completely renovated, the kitchen in Fellini's. Okay. That's what Johnny Ornella said.
I don't know anything about any of the kitchens in any of those spots, so it's...
He asked about the Waffle House on 5th Street. The Waffle House on 5th Street closed because the Waffle House could not staff that location. And that location at night is quite entertaining, if not rowdy. So that's why that closed. I think the Waffle House on 5th Street, and I know your family lives down that way, and I used to live in Redfields, and I used to live in the villas at Southern Ridge down 5th Street. Fifth Street makes me nervous right now. Fifth Street extended, Fifth Street. You're going to have a lot of additional density going down Fifth Street, Charlottesville City, into the urban ring, and then to Albemarle County, past the Albemarle County Police Department office.
Yeah, building up those, converting the...
Southwood.
Yeah.
Dude, a lot of density going down there. And that road can be a cluster. And when that density becomes a reality, you're talking about a serious cluster down there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Waffle House, I'm not super, bullish about. What I am is, Wild Wing Cafe, Peloton Station. I think the Piedmont, Judah made the point that maybe the Piedmont used to be Shadwell's, used to be Topeka Steakhouse. Maybe that place is cursed.
I think it needs to be a little shopping center. I think the same problem with West Main and Midtown is there's no identity.
The identity of Pantops is...
The Piedmont was what? A restaurant and a hotel?
No. It was just a restaurant. It was next to a hotel.
I know.
Oh, you're saying it had no... Yeah, I get your point. And Pantops definitely is lacking in identity as well. I get your point. I mean, what is the identity of Pantops? A couple of grocery stores and some car dealerships.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the identity, the brand identity of Pantops? What do people think of? 2 grocery stores and car dealerships.
Yeah.
And if the first thing that you think of when you think of
gas
Pantops...
stations.
Yeah. If the first thing you think of when you think of Pantops is 2 grocery stores and car dealerships, are you going to be inclined to think of Pantops for date night on Friday night or for dinner with your family on a special occasion? Probably not.
I wouldn't.
And maybe that's why Pantops, the Piedmont closed. Now, a counterpoint to that would be Tip Top Restaurant. And that Guadalajara is also always crowded and busy.
Some places just defy rationality. There are some places like...
Tip Top doesn't defy rationality. Tip Top is good because the service is quick and reliable, and the food is served hot, fast, and affordable.
But any other place in that spot would not do the same business.
He's got a boatload of parking at Tip Top.
Part of it is that everybody knows Tip Top, and
they got a great brand.
Part of it is and part of it is like you said, it's the service, it's the food. It's fast. It's well priced. It's the people are good at what they do. They're good at getting people in and out. The number of times I've walked up to there and had like 20 people, standing from like right where you're waiting to get noticed to like out the door, and within 5 minutes you're standing there at the front of the line, and it's like, wow. They've got their you-know-what together.
They really do.
And people know that.
Which service is more prompt? This is a great question. I'm going to text this and make this part of tomorrow's show. I'm enjoying the show with you today. Which brand in business has the most efficient service? Tip Top Restaurant or Bodo's Bagels?
I haven't been to Bodo's in quite a while. We tried to go there. We tried to
go to Bodo's.
We tried to go there on, I think it was New Year's Day, because my sister was going out of town and she was back at my parents' packing, and they were closed. So,
you went on New Year's Day, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they should have been open on New Year's Day.
Okay, you went on New Year's Day. KTP, the Queen of Whitehall, Katie Pearl says this. The stairwell by Guajiros, she had to park down in that lower lot that you parked down with 5 kids, and they walked up that lower lot to Guajiros.
Yeah.
She said there were leaves all over the steps, and she was terrified someone was going to slip backwards on the leaves, and there was no parking on West Main, or I would have opted for that. Janice Boyce Trevelyan also says parking on West Main Street is hard, so these are people agreeing with you that parking is quite difficult. She says, KTP does, that those stairs from that lower lot behind Guajiros up to West Main Street are a death trap.
They're scary, and thinking about my dad going up those stairs was even worse. I sprint up them, no problem, but
there's no way my dad would have been able to do those stairs.
Yeah, and it is. I know you can park on West Main.
There is a little bit of luck, to your point.
I don't even go to anywhere on West Main anymore because it's too much trouble. Like it's one lane traffic.
Good Lord,
it's one lane
so
traffic.
dramatic.
No, I'm serious.
That is so dramatic.
Okay, but the point is, it's all just street parking, and there may be some parking lots, but they're not advertised very well. And so, like I said, I don't feel like there's any place where I could just park my car and go walking for a few blocks to check things out.
What is it with this town and freaking parking?
There are places like Rodeo Drive where you got
God, here we go.
You got
Judah with Rodeo Drive reference. Okay.
I'm just saying, you've got block upon block upon block of like stores and restaurants and all kinds of stuff, and people have no problem finding parking and walking for like 5, 6, 8, 10 blocks.
I think one of the things that
Midtown is so much smaller than that.
Midtown Charlottesville, you're saying.
But I feel like it's lost opportunity.
Warrior AG, Albert Graves, I agree. Tip Top is just great cooking. And Janice Boyce Trevelyan says
I do have a problem with their gyro as well.
Janice Boy, have you had the White Spots gyro? The White Spots gyro is pretty good. Now you have to deal with the UVA corner. That's the problem. The White Spot is a pretty good gyro.
I've had White Spot. Just every time I go there,
you get the
know
Gus
what I'm
burger.
getting.
Yeah, you get the Gus burger, of course. Albert Graves says he gives props to Tip Top. Janice Boyce Trevelyan says a big draw for her and her family is Dairy Market has parking. I think undoubtedly one of the popular aspects of Tip Top is the massive parking lot. Tip Top always is busy, and you never have a difficult time finding parking at Tip Top. Tip Top is also ridiculously efficient and fast with service.
Does anybody balk at the price of the parking?
At where? Dairy Market?
Yeah.
First hour is free.
Is it?
Yeah, every hour after that is a couple bucks. Okay. I mean, undoubtedly, Chris Henry and Mr. Paul Manning, when they developed Dairy Market, they realized that they could make parking into a profit center, and they certainly made parking into a profit center, and it's all automated.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no human in managing the parking.
Right.
Which it's a fat profit center for them. So props to them for coming up with that idea. They are, that model should be on the short list of restaurant vacant space that's most appealing. I'm not saying it's atop that list. I still think that of the ones that I've mentioned, Peloton Station, Fellini's, Anna's Number 9, World of Beer, the Piedmont, Wild Wing Cafe, I like the potential for Wild Wing Cafe and Peloton Station the most. I think you can put Dairy Market, like one of the empty stalls at Dairy Market, maybe in the top 10, top 15. I think of all the ones that I just mentioned, the Piedmont might be the most challenging. I'm shocked that World of Beer still is not filled. I'm shocked by that. I'm hearing through the grapevine that activity's happening at Anna's and Fellini's, so we'll follow that closely. I thought you did a good job today.
Thank you.
I'm disappointed. I empathize with the parents that spoke at the meeting at the school board. I see it through their eyes.
You're talking about with everything that's going on?
Yeah. I mean, just to have your son or daughter, leave your sight line and your protection and to go somewhere else and then to have to worry about them through the course of the day, that worry weighs heavy on you as a mom or dad. And it weighs heavier on, certain mindsets and people.
Yeah, certain people.
My wife, would weigh real heavy on her. And I empathize for her. So I don't know. It stinks.
No doubt.
I think what we learned is leadership in the administration just are not listening to the parents.
Right.
And that's aggravating. That's a topic for tomorrow's show. I'll talk this tomorrow, Tip Top versus Bodo's Bagels. What is the most efficient operation? And I did not have a chance to get to this question. in Albemarle and Charlottesville City, which phenomenon is having the greatest impact? Phenomenon number one is UVA buying up a lot of property. Phenomenon number two is Charlottesville City upzoning the real estate in the city, making the zoning more flexible. Or phenomenon number three, potentially expanding the development area in Albemarle County. It's currently at 5% of Albemarle County can be utilized for residential and commercial development. Folks are pushing to expand that developmental area. So of those three phenomenons, which would have the greatest impact on Charlottesville and Albemarle? That topic on tomorrow's show. Judah Wickower, Jerry Miller. When you see Judah Wickower walking around the streets of Charlottesville and Albemarle, roll down your window, holler at him, wave to him, honk your horn at him, scream, J-Dubs.
If I'm not wearing my glasses, you may have to scream your name as well, because I probably won't recognize you.
Judah's extremely talented and has many skills. Seeing things from afar is not one of those skills or talents. So when you do see Judah, scream, J-Dubs, this is Lee Alberson.
Well, I would recognize his
Jeep. Yeah, his Jeep. Jeep Vader. For Judah Wickower, I'm Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille Show. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 12:30. Judah, you were good. Good job.